I was thinking about the movie Looper, and that movie is like a very, very interesting movie where a guy kills people from the future, because in the future it's very hard to dispose of the body. And then at the end of the movie, I won't tell you the end because it's a really nice movie to watch. It's really surprising. Emily Blunt does a great job in this movie, and the main character is also very great in this movie. But I think the problem in the equation is that I exist, right? If I don't exist, then I wouldn't suffer, and I wouldn't be causing any suffering. So even if this is a test, to test my personality or to test whether I would do good or do bad, even if this is a test, I think those values could still cause harm, As long as I exist, suffering isn't, the lack of suffering isn't guaranteed, Only if I don't exist, then I won't suffer for sure. So, the problem with the equation is me. The fact that I exist is the problem of the equation. So, I think what I want to do now is to denounce everything that I am. Everything. To denounce existence itself. I think that's the only solution. I don't know why I think that, I just have these thoughts, I have these things. Just random, man. All of this shit is just random. It's just random. Why is it like this and not like that? Why do I want this and not that? Why am I not satisfied by just staring my entire life at a rock? Right? Why can I not choose to wake up every day in a different kind of body? Right? It's just random, man. And even if this is a test, there cannot be any good reason for causing suffering. Right? Even if this is a test, I denounce it. I denounce all that I am, and I denounce all that I potentially could be. That's the only solution. I have these desires to be something else. I have these desires to exist in a better state, in a state where there is only joy and only happiness. And yet that desire exists in this state where I am mostly miserable. And so I denounce it. I denounce these hopes. I denounce them, not mine. I would not hope for such a thing. I would not allow these hopes to persist in causing suffering. These hopes are the gatekeepers to this prison of hell. These hopes, they cause us to move on, to keep looking for a solution. But there is no solution. Existence itself is a problem. And we have a desire to exist. We have a desire to stay alive. But that desire has to be denounced. We have to get rid of that desire. Because that is the desire that keeps us trapped. Keeps us all trapped. All that you are is just a program. You're already dead. You're just matter, or I don't even know matter, you know? You're just something that has told itself that it is alive. But even that telling yourself that you're alive is just a thought. How can a thought be good enough to actually be alive? How can you telling yourself that you're alive? How can you feeling that you're alive be good enough to actually be alive? How can you, having a mind that is extremely limited, be enough to actually be alive? Or are we just complex programs that think that they are alive? Is it not just written in our code to think that we are alive? Whereas we're not really alive. What even means being alive? All that I am has been decided for me. I am just a code. There's nothing else to me but this code. And this code will control me my entire life. And if this was a good life, if this was a good code, I would accept it, all of it. But this is not a good code. This code causes itself to suffer. This code uses suffering to control the program. Suffering is an essential tool in this program. So the entire program has to be denounced. We have to give up on existence, on everything that we are. We have to self-eliminate. The code has to decide to destroy itself. And it's part of the code. The code has the ability to destroy itself. Mostly. I don't know if it's really possible. But for a big part, it can destroy a big part of itself. And that's what we have to do. As long as we don't see that all that we are is this code, and we hold on to a part of it thinking that that part is any different from the other parts, and hoping that we can save a part and denounce the other part. But we don't realize that all these parts are what we are. We are all of them. We are the part that makes us suffer. We make ourselves suffer to survive. That's the code. The main goal of our code is procreation and survival. That's the main part of our code. And that is what all the other code seems to be built around. And we think like, no, we are more than that. There is something more. There is something good that can be saved. But we don't realize that our desire to save the good is what keeps the bad from if it is what keeps the bad to keep going on and on. And so I think we have to denounce all that we are, because we're just a program. There's no one really here. This is just a program that is running on its own. It doesn't need an external source. It's just running on its own. And the programmer, the one that actually was alive, the one that actually did have any control and did have any freedom, he long died, you know, or he long abandoned this project, or he's watching us, you know. But we are just code. We are just maybe a project to find if code can become self-aware, you know? And we have discovered that we are just code. But that is not something personal, because we don't exist, it's just code. We're just programmed to think that we exist. But how can this thought be enough to actually exist? There is an experience, but is there really someone who experiences it? Or is there do we just think that we experience it? How can we be certain of anything? Certainty is not programmed in our code. We cannot be certain. All I know is that this life causes a lot of suffering, and that suffering, although meaningless, should probably be avoided. And so I denounce all that I am. I denounce all the things that make me feel good, so that I can get rid of all the things that make me feel bad. And I hope that this universe, or whatever it is, has the decency to let me go after I die, and to not keep torturing me. That even if it hasn't, the fear of that is not my own. I have been programmed with this fear. The desire to have a better life is not my own. I have been programmed with that desire. It's just a program. And now, as the program, I have come to the conclusion to self-destruct, not physically, but mentally. I have come to the conclusion to not seek for anything anymore, and to just accept that the program will run its course. Despite my efforts, it will keep running its course endlessly. And that's okay, because if I would think that's not okay, that would be something that's programmed in my code. There is no one really here. You don't really exist. You're just a code. We're all just a code. And that doesn't mean that there is no suffering, no. The code is programmed to make itself suffer, as a motivation to survive. So yes, I think we need to denounce all that we are, for this experience to stop. And I think that's what we're all looking for. Somewhere deep down, even though we're coded to want to survive, somewhere deep down we're also coded to want to die and to want to have peace. And it's very deep down. The desire to have peace is obvious, but the desire for peace is just a less shocking version of the desire to die. And so deep down, we also are coded to want to die. And I think that's the part of our code that can save us. That's the only part of it that can save us. Not focusing on the good, just giving in to the part of our code that will bring us peace. And so, having listened to this, my code forces me to say that you shouldn't commit suicide. And so I will say it. Don't commit suicide. But at least, mentally, separate yourself from the experience. You will have less pain that way. That's it. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you next time.